If you're a freelance videographer experiencing the peaks and valleys of revenue in your business, this is going to be the video for you. What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Snaadt. It rhymes with odd, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be breaking down what a retainer is, how you can land some of these types of clients, where they're hanging out, and also how retainers can even out kind of your cash flow issues throughout the year. This topic is super popular. I talk about it all the time in my masterminds, my online courses, and with other shooters out there. And I feel like I need to make a standalone video to help you guys with this. Now, before I forget, I did want to mention that I just updated my 45-minute webinar training that teaches you the 9 biggest mistakes that solo videographers make when they're starting a business. One of those big mistakes being pricing. I'll kind of give you a hint to what the training's all about. So I'll put a link in the description box below. You can check it out at any point in this video. Now, before we get too deep on this topic, I should probably define what a retainer is. A retainer is essentially an agreement between you and your client that you're going to be performing video marketing or video production services on an ongoing basis for them. A lot of times this will materialize as doing one shoot a month for a client for a set fee, and then also offering some other additional services like photography, social media management, or other things in there to kind of sweeten the deal a little bit. There's a lot of great benefits to implementing retainers in your business, but the main reason is consistent cash flow. As you experience as a videographer, a lot of times you'll have busy seasons where you're working on like 10 projects at once, and then there's slower seasons where you're really struggling to find anything to do, and you're having these peaks and valleys in your revenue throughout the year. So some months you could be making multiple tens of thousands of dollars a year or hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And others you're asking, people for peanut butter sandwiches and ramen at the grocery store because you can't afford your own grocery bill. And that consistent cash flow yields predictable income. So before, with the example of just a one-off shooter out there, they might make $10,000 in a month, and that's a good month for them. Where if you have 2 $5,000 a month retainers, you're guaranteed you're making $10,000 a month every month on top of any other one-off projects that you book throughout the year. So as you can see, implementing even one retainer can really drastically change how much cash you're getting in, and that you can make sure that you're paying yourself properly, covering your overhead, and taking care of all the things that you need to. Another great benefit for those creatives out there like yourself, possibly, that don't like the sales process, which is most creatives that I meet in this industry. If you don't like sales, you can do this and just sell one time and then not have to sell as much, which is super nice. You'll sell it once and then you never have to sell again to that client. Another huge benefit is that there is less risk in terms of hiring on new staff. So say you're a solo operator and you're looking at bringing on like a full-time editor, another content creator, a producer, or salesperson or something like that. When you're making those decisions, you need to try to forecast a little bit and look ahead at your workload and your client base and say, is this going to be super risky if I hire this person on and have a guaranteed salary that I have to cover every month and I don't know when my next paycheck's coming? So having content retainers, once again, gives you some more consistent cash flow, more predictable income, and you can pretty much know months in advance, hey, we're going to have X amount of dollars a month coming in for sure. We can justify hiring on someone and make sure that we're not going to, be really ruining ourselves financially if we do that. The other nice thing is that if you're working with clients on a more regular basis, say you're shooting 2 to 6 times a year with this client, they're calling you basically every 2 to 3 months and asking, hey, can we shoot another video? Hey, can we shoot another video? And it simplifies the crap out of your pitching process because you don't have to custom quote projects every single time they reach out. You can just look at a calendar year and know, hey, they want to do all these different types of projects throughout the next 12 months. Let's set a monthly price, make sure that we're making enough money to cover what we need to. And we can just go about hitting these videos out every month or so and knock them out on a more scheduled basis. It also allows for you to have a stronger relationship with your clients as well. So if you have kind of these transactional, transient relationships with clients where you'll shoot once with them and then never hear from them again, this is a great opportunity to find clients in industries that you really enjoy, and working more in those industries will give you more fulfillment out of the job too. So that's a really great approach with doing retainers, is finding retainers in clients' industries that you really enjoy and trying to fill your calendar up with things that fill your cup personally. Now, if you're liking the video so far, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and ask any questions along the way in the comment section below. Now let's jump into some of the ways that you can sell these types of retainers to your next client. Some production companies only ever sell retainers. Other people only ever do one-off projects. So if you're trying to do a hybrid approach and do a little bit of both, I would definitely look at doing that with more repeat clients that already like, know, and trust you already. They've already worked with you before, and it's a lot easier of a sale because they're not biting off some huge commitment with someone they've never met before. They've worked with you before. They probably like what it's like to work with you and your crew, and it's a lot easier of a close that way. So in the times that I've closed my retainer projects, here's some of the value stack or the things that I've included in these packages to kind of sweeten the deal for the client a little bit more and make it an easier yes for them. Number one thing, which I'm probably going to get a little bit hate for in this video, is actually discounting the price. Now, before you guys go to the comment section and ream me saying, Ryan, what are you doing dropping the price? Hear me out a little bit. One-off project with this client might say, for example, it's going to be a $5,000 video project. I might only get that $5,000 once from that client and they'll never come back. So for me to get a commitment out of somebody that's going to pay $5,000 a month for a 12-month commitment, I'm okay taking a little bit less per month or per that one project to make sure that I'm getting that every single month times 12. So a lot of times to sweeten that deal on the price side for a client and make it more of an incentive for them to do the retainer, I'll say, okay, client ABC, we can present this one option, which is a $5,000 video one time. But from what you were telling me, it sounds like we need to do this type of production once a month to hit your goals. So rather than doing $5,000 a month, if we do a retainer agreement, I actually take 10% off the entire amount that you would have, which would save you $500 a month. So if we end up working together, that's going to save you $6,000 over the course of a year by doing a retainer agreement. So you can see how I'm framing it based on, we could just do a one-off, it's going to cost you more, but we could also look at doing a retainer and it sounds and feels like we're actually saving money. We're saving $6,000 in that agreement, which is a fact. As people will understand if they can do the math, we're going to be making over $50,000 with this project over the course of a year. We're going to be a lot more involved, but we're also giving them a little bit of price difference on the front end to make it more worth it, more of an incentive for them. So the way I look at the price difference really comes down to, do I want to make $5,000 now? Or do I want to make $50,000 over the course of the next 12 months? That's one of the first ways that I do it, is I give a 10% discount if they agree to a 12-month agreement with me. The next few things that I'll do to kind of sweeten the value stack a little bit is adding more services than we would usually do. So in my company, we mainly just do video production, but we can also offer photography. We can offer headshots for staff. We can offer more drone coverage. We can offer a lot of different things that will help sweeten this deal that we would have typically charged more per production for, but we can throw those things in if we're already on site and it's not really going to cost us much more overhead to do those things. I always love personally adding photography because if we're already shooting B-roll for a project, it doesn't take a lot of effort to switch over to photo mode, snap a couple pictures, edit them in about 5 or 10 minutes, and then give them over to the client. And it gives them way more deliverables and more value for a little bit extra work for us on our end. The other piece I really like to do with my retainers is I also include a 1-hour marketing meeting that we're going to do every single month. So I'll typically jump on a video chat with that retainer client every month just to check in, see how things are going. We'll talk about upcoming shoots and really just try to manage that project a little bit more. Another thing that you can do if you're doing more content retainers, so producing, Instagram reels or photos or things for them to post on social media, is you could also offer to do the social media posting on their behalf. There's a whole nother video that we could do about how you can offer this, but there's a ton of softwares out there that you could automatically schedule the things for them, or you could offer social media management as a part of your package as well. We don't do social media management here at my company, but we have a couple partners that we work with that really do a great job. And I'm always happy to kind of refer them into a project to kind of get that load off of us. And we just focus on creating content and we can bring in other partners to do the execution on the marketing management side. Another thing that works well is having some exclusivity perks as a part of being in your retainer agreement with you. So say you have 10 retainers on, maybe you have like a mastermind group or a business owners group that you can facilitate. That is also just kind of another benefit that they could have, where they get access to other business owners that are in the same boat. They can bounce ideas around, and you can help facilitate that as a part of your mastermind or your retainer agreement. That just gives them more value, gives them more access, more information, more education. Now, there's a ton of other things you could offer as a part of a retainer agreement based on your skill set. So again, if you're like a photographer by trade or a graphic designer or whatever else you have up your sleeve, try to offer some of those services or upsells or other value things that you can add to your stack that just makes it even more valuable to them, and that it's just a no-brainer yes from them when they're looking at deciding if they want to do this or not. Make sure when you're done watching this video that you check out my newest updated 9 biggest mistakes that videographers make when they're starting a business webinar. This is a 45-minute training that I'm going to go much deeper on different business topics that are going to help you outside of just retainers, but other things to help you grow your business to 6 figures and beyond. So make sure to check that out in the description box below. But now let's get into the dangers of doing retainers for your business. Now, the first thing I'll say is retainers are not really the best solution or product for every client that you're going to come in contact with. Some people just need a one-off video. They have an event that they need captured, or they have a wedding that they need captured, or they just need a couple videos here and there to get them by. It's not the end-all be-all for every single client out there. But I will say if you're shooting a lot with businesses, social media influencers, speakers, and other people like that, there is a bigger need. A lot of times they just don't understand or are aware of how they could leverage doing consistent content every month and how to put a plan in place to use that to get them more clients, more leads, or whatever they're trying to achieve with their company. Also, the clients have to be a big enough size that the budget doesn't bother them too much. So I typically don't pitch content retainers to owner-operators of businesses or people that have like 5 or less employees, because typically they don't have enough revenue coming in to justify paying my company thousands of dollars a month for marketing services. Now, if you go talk to a company that has 100, 1,000, 10,000 employees, obviously they have a lot more money coming in through their business to support all those employees. And it's just a drop in the bucket in terms of adding another service or a marketing production service to their P&L every single month. So take that with a grain of salt. The bigger client that you have, the easier sell it is to do a content retainer. Another big risk or danger of doing retainers as your entire focus of your production company is bandwidth. If you have 10 or more retainers that you're working on every month, you basically are capped out at how much you can do depending on hiring more staff. So it puts a lot of stress on you as the fulfillment person to help actually facilitate the shoots, get the edits in on time, and actually provide a good service for your clients. Basically, once you get past like 5 retainers, you have to really start looking at hiring more staff, having a client success manager or a producer, keeping in contact with all of your clients that are on retainer, having a dedicated editor per client project to make sure that you're turning the projects around faster enough. So there's a lot of logistical issues that can come with having too many retainers, or you oversell them and underdeliver them. So just keep that in mind as you're kind of scaling up and knowing about how many retainers you can do in a month with just yourself or just the team that you have before you have to start hiring on new people to help you. Another interesting danger of having retainers is being locked into a retainer with a bad client that is not a good fit for you or is a complete pain in the ass to work with. We've all had them. They don't pay on time. They text you or call you at all times of the night, and they're just really bad people to work with typically. So really be leery of having bad clients on retainer. If you work with someone and it's a terrible experience on your end, do not pitch them on a retainer. It's going to make your life super miserable. I only ever present retainers to people that are in industries that I'm really interested in, places that I know that I can really make an impact or drive results for their business, and or clients that are just a super great person to work with. They always pay on time. They're great people. Those are the types of people that I always pitch retainers to. If they're not any of those 3 things on my list, I typically say, that's okay. We can work with you one time, charge our normal rates, and then we can shake hands and walk away when our project's done. And I'm not chained to this thing for the rest of my life. So it's okay to be a little picky when it comes to retainer clients because you will be working with them for the next year. And you want to make sure that they're a good fit for you just as much as you are for them. The other huge risk that you run with doing a retainer agreement structure for your business is having really poor communication. If you're really not the communication person, you're always hating to reply back to client emails or revisions, you're not on it, Johnny on the spot all the time with that stuff, this might not be a good option for you. Because again, if you're juggling, say, 10 retainers in a calendar month, you have 10 people that are bugging you every single month about different projects, new shoots, revisions, edits. And if you're not willing to be overly communicative and really make that a good experience for people, you A, might need to hire a client success manager, which is an option, or B, you need to really reconsider if this is even an option for you, because it is a lot more customer service, it's a lot more involved, but it's also a lot more money. So take that into account as well. And the biggest danger of having too many retainers or over committing to retainer work is not having enough bandwidth to take on really good projects when they come your way. I just had a podcast interview with Nicholas Hanstad. I'll put a link up in the card above on my podcast recently. And he runs a production company here in Des Moines, Iowa as well that focuses mainly on retainer work. And as our conversation kind of led to, I was asking him about kind of the restrictions of having really all retainers. And the biggest thing that we talked about was having no bandwidth that you could take on big projects. If someone came to you with an amazing project with huge budget, that's exactly like your dream project, and you're overcommitted to doing retainer work, you have to say no to it, or you have to neglect your current people that are on retainer to go focus on the bright new shiny thing. So I would say, as you're kind of looking at retainer work, is this an option that you want to do for your company? Definitely try to leave a little bit of margin in there for adding new projects every month. And if you know, we typically get 10 new people a month that reach out about projects and we close 3 or 4 of them. Make sure that you leave a little bit of time in your schedule for shooting to make sure that you can actually deliver for those new clients that are coming in, and leave an opportunity to then pitch even more retainer clients if you want to. So hopefully this video gives you a little bit of understanding about how to use retainers in your video production company and really how you want to leverage this new pricing strategy to try to grow and bring on new team members and really have more stability in your company. So right now, Snaadt Media Group, my company, has 3 retainers that we have on an annual agreement, and that's been a pretty good little mixture. I would say most of the time, a good spot for us is like 3 to 6 monthly retainers that we have on contract. Kind of our sweet spot is doing like 2 to 3 shoots per week. and having Evan, our editor, kind of knocking out those projects while our crew is out filming more things. So by having a little bit of bandwidth extra there, we can take on one-off projects, and it gives us a lot of like hybrid flexibility, which I really appreciate. So for me, my goal is like 3 to 6. So we're kind of on the low end of retainers that I would like to have. And we actually have bids out right now for like 3 or 4 ongoing retainers for other clients. So here's hoping that only 3 more of them say yes, because then we'll kind of be at our bandwidth again and have to figure out staffing. So now in terms of price range, a lot of people vary on this. It just depends on the involvement that you're doing. Most of our retainers range anywhere from $1,500 a month up to about $5,000 or $6,000 a month, just depending on what the involvement looks like. Outside of just doing like a monthly flat fee, we've also done quarterly productions as well. If we've known, hey, we need to do 4 shoots in the next calendar year, and we've just batched it out over 3 months, and then people pay every 3 months as well as kind of a retainer just to lock in those prices and guarantee that the shoots are taken care of. So you can really experiment a little bit with how you want to do your pricing structure. I typically find that monthly works really well. Everyone knows the invoices are due the first of the month every month. And if they don't pay on time, they don't get their deliverables. So if they reach out to us and say, hey, we haven't gotten our files for this month, it's like, oh, that's because we have an outstanding invoice. Take care of the invoice, and then we'll send the files over right away. So there is some kind of nuance and structuring to how you want to kind of structure your deal to make sure that it's amicable for both people and that you aren't getting taken advantage of. I will also say on dealing with bad retainer clients, if you're working with a retainer client and they haven't paid their invoice for like a month or 2 months, I would say the biggest thing you want to do is make sure you halt all production, reach out to them, explain the problem. If they keep cold shouldering you or whatnot, do not keep working until you get updated on your pricing and your payments for the current work that's been done. That's why we always bill our invoices the first of the month, because that's paying for the month that is coming in. So if it's January 1st payment hits, okay, the work for January can now commence, and we're not looking backwards. That's kind of when you get in a rut, is if you're doing retainer work and you're invoicing and they don't pay during the month of January, and then you just keep working, and then into February, they still haven't paid for January. And then the end of February comes and now they're 2 months delinquent and you're still working for free. That's kind of why we typically invoice on the first for all of our retainers. So then we make sure that they're up to date and current with their account. And that leads to a lot less stress down the road as well. One of the last parting pieces of advice I will leave with you as well regarding to retainers is making sure that you're tracking what's need to be tracked, and that you're making sure you're doing the things that the client wants. So when you first start off on your retainer, if they're trying to do content, let's say, and we're doing Instagram reels for them, I always want to look and say, okay, before we even start, what is the engagement that you were getting on your posts before we start working with you? Document the crap out of that data. And then month over month, looking at, okay, we posted the content for you, but what's it doing? How's it performing? How many clicks is it getting to your site? Can we track sales? Is it driving any like tangible results that we can track? Some of those things are great to just keep track of. 1, so you know what you're doing is actually working. And then 2, after that 12-month period comes around, you can review the data and you can say, okay, we're going to look at if you want to re-up for next year for this content example that we're doing. In this calendar year, we've gotten you, 10 million impressions on your videos. You've had 500 clicks to your website, and we've had tracked links to 20 sales that have resulted in $50,000 of revenue for your business. So now if we look at that data, it's much, much easier for you to prove your worth in this year and give them a lot more solace and feeling good about going forward with another year for you to keep you still on retainer for the following year. So again, this is probably like completely melting your brain because you're just used to like, people want video, I shoot video, here's video, give me money. So it's going to kind of like reverse engineer how your brain works. But really, this is how a retainer can benefit you as a video producer, how you can use it to really blow your business up in a good way, and how you can have a lot more consistent cash flow, less risk, and really sleep better at night knowing that you have consistent money coming in every month to help cover your overhead. Okay, that does it for this video. If you have any questions about retainers that I did not talk about, make sure to leave those in the comment section below. If you like the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more weekly content all around growing your video production business. And as I mentioned, I just released a new updated business webinar that helps you kind of understand the 9 biggest mistakes of solo videography and how you can grow your business to 6 figures and beyond quicker. It's a 45-minute training. It's 100% free. Just go check it out in the description box below. I'll put a link to that down below as well. Okay, guys, that about does it for me. My name is Ryan Snaadt. It rhymes with odd, and I'm out. Peace.